Hey, welcome everybody to It Came From GenX. I am your co-host, Keith Porter, along with your other co-host, Brian Fishbone Fisher. What's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing, man? You know, something is different tonight.
Wait a minute, there is.
I can't quite place my finger on it, but I think we are missing somebody tonight. Mike Skinner.
Yeah, our brother's not here tonight, man. And do you want to tell them why? Because I got a feeling some jokes are going to come, and people might need some clarity, you know? Because I'll tell you right now, if you enjoy these jokes, I'm going to put them on a thumb drive for you and send them to you.
Thank you. Please. And please, when you do arrive, please point them out to me that I have them. So we are showing that we've known Mike for 30 years, so we could joke with him.
We could get away with this, right?
Yeah, Mike he did have an accident. He's okay. First of all, let's preface that right away. He fortunately is okay. Could have been a very serious matter.
For sure.
He is refinishing his basement and setting up a entertainment area and cutting drywall, and slipped and hit his fingers into his table saw, and he's very, very lucky he did not sever any fingers. So Marcy was right there, his lovely girlfriend.
Marcy saw it.
Oh gosh. That's a good one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good. I almost said no, she didn't, but you're like, yeah, it's all a joke.
You come on, hang with me, Fish. Hang with me, man.
Got to keep up with it. But quick reaction. Got to the hospital. Fortunately, nothing was severed.
Yes.
Poor Mike did though cut himself, and he did break his index finger. He's going to have a surgeon take a look at it on Thursday. He may have to have a pin or something, but thank goodness he has feeling. He has mobility in his hand. It was his left hand, so it's not his dominant hand. So he's okay.
And he made sure to FaceTime me today. He didn't want me hearing about his second hand. God bless you, brother.
Yes.
And I've been having some issues myself. I was so out of it, but I was so glad that he did that. Because if I'd have seen that on social media or something, I'd be like, what? Yep. So he's going to be okay. So I love you, brother.
Yep.
And hopefully you'll be back here next week with us, doing what we normally do. So
absolutely.
With that being said,
I'm sorry, if you're out there, let's give Mike a hand.
Yes.
That he's okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Sorry.
Are we done?
Yeah,
are we done? Okay. For now. All right.
For now.
Yes. I'll be working on stuff throughout the show. But anyway, hey, since you're talking, since you're so handy, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find the show.
Yes, very good. So you might be listening to us on WMVU.org, Global Internet Radio, Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Give us a listen there through their app, WMVU.org. You may listen to us whenever you feel like it. Let your fingers do the walking and find us on your favorite podcast platform. You can find us on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, and more. Ask your home assistant device to play the It Came From GenX podcast, and she will do that for you from the comfort of your home or wherever you have your smart speaker. YouTube channel, It Came From GenX. All video versions of the show will be there for you. Email the show, give us feedback, comments, suggestions. It Came From GenX330@gmail.com. All show information on our Facebook page at It Came From GenX, all one word. Also out there on Instagram, It Came From _GenX. Twitter, It Came From GenX. And TikTok, It Came From GenX330. All this information, if you can't remember any of it, packaged up nice and neat for you on our Linktree account, as suggested by our young talent, your son, Steele, and Mike Skinner Jr. Thank you for that. Linktree, just search link, L-I-N-K, tree, It Came From GenX, and our profile will pop right up for you. Nothing to log into. It'll pop up. All the links to all the social media I just shared with you are right there for you. Podcast pages, email, Facebook, YouTube, all that's right there for you. Linktree, It Came From GenX. Check us out. If you do like our stuff, thank you. Share us, subscribe, follow, rate, review on podcasts, helps others find the show. We very much appreciate your support. The page has grown a little bit, so hopefully if you're new to our page, maybe you're checking us out here for the first time, and if so, we hope you enjoy and hang with us.
hopefully they'll realize we just try to be a cut above the rest. So hopefully.
That's right. That's right. A cut above. That's right.
All right. Well, normally, Fish, we start off with world news.
Yep.
We differed up a couple of times, but normally we start with world news, which is Mikey's joint. And so you and I decided to do something different today. We're going to split the world news section. How's that sound?
That's perfect. That's perfect.
All right. Well, let's get started with some world news.
Go ahead,
now,
sir.
Story that caught my eye was a story with Daniel Ellsberg. He is being threatened with 50 years in prison by revealing some papers. They're calling them the Vietnam 50. And these papers are allegedly would reveal the lies that was told by the U.S. government in regards to the Vietnam. Very compelling lies, if you will. Now, I don't know anything about what they could possibly be talking about, which isn't what we're not a news reporting podcast. That's not what we do here. This is It Came From GenX because we look at things from a Gen X point of view and the dichotomy between that and maybe a millennial point of view and things of that nature. So I was sitting here looking at this story and I'm like, man, Vietnam, that was a long, long time ago. And it's started me thinking, Fish, about the old argument going on about the truth versus national security. We have what we call whistleblowers from as far back as I can remember. And they had a lot of support because, and you know, the reporters, they always think that everything should be out there. You know, they think if it's a story, it should be out there regardless of who it hurts or whatever. And there also is the old argument that, you know, I think about the old movie quote from Jack Nicholson. You can't handle the truth. Which I understand that too. Sometimes the truth is out there, but people can't handle the truth. You might think you want to know the truth, but you really couldn't handle it. And of course, people, you don't think they know what's best and a subject that they have no idea about. So I understand both sides of it. So I was sitting here thinking, man, how do you weigh that the truth versus national security? Should we know everything, or should there be some things held back? Who's to determine that? You know, who's to determine what is worth us doing, what is not worth doing? So I thought I'd ask the question to you today, Fish. What allegedly government secret would you want to be revealed?
That is interesting. Go ahead.
I don't want to mess up your list, because if you're thinking of any of these, I'm gonna just throw a couple at you here, just kind of get your mind rolling. So, and it's okay if you want to choose one of those. Who shot JFK? And of course, the biggest one, Area 51.
Well, I'm highly interested in both of those, frankly. So,
sure.
I mean, national security for me, certainly there's a line to where if you are putting out information that is endangering someone's lives, you know, right now. So certainly if you have, you know, a military operation, or you have, you know, spies that are infiltrated somewhere and you release something and you're putting people's lives in danger, something like that, certainly, yeah, we don't need to know everything real time. Certainly, you just can't, right? So,
right.
But stuff, you know, you mentioned the Vietnam and other stuff. I mean, that, you know, that killed a lot of soldiers. So
yes,
if you spun that in a way to, and it's certainly that happens. It's happened since that time, and where, you know, a position, or, you know, what a country has going on. And they make it more of a threat than it really is.
I believe this with all my heart, that we have lost thousands and thousands of our young, brave soldiers because the two old white guys were sitting in a room smoking cigars and got in an argument.
Sure.
You know, I'm just being honest with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so like the Vietnam thing, for example, if we really position that country as more of a threat than what it was, just to send soldiers in there to try to accomplish something else, and a lot of guys got killed, a lot of guys are, and women, certainly soldiers, let's say, are still reliving horrors to this day, and
Yes,
has a
without
hard time
question.
functioning in normal life because of all that. That's not good. So that type of stuff, yeah, to me, yeah, get that out there. Hold some people
Yeah.
accountable for misleading information like that. So I think that type of stuff I'm into. As far as the other things you mentioned, yeah, definitely interested in Area 51 with the, and certainly the JFK. I've been in all those movies in the
Yeah,
'90s and all.
fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it really is. It was. You
You have
feel
the
like you
story
know
that
what
was
happened,
told,
but
but logic doesn't.
yeah,
Logic, logistics, all of that stuff doesn't come into play.
right.
Like we dealing with one recently, with the September 11th
Hmm.
catastrophe that happened. You have all these stories coming out about the impossibility of jet fuel being able to do what they claim it did, and all. I can go on and on about it. But let's go back even further in history.
Hmm.
How about the lies that we've been told just uh, to create this sense of America unity or whatever? Like recently, we go back to Christopher Columbus, this hero that he was put up as, and we don't want to take any away from any of his accomplishments. I'm not saying, I'm not part of cancel culture by any establishment, but just the way he was put up as this hero, and the lies. Oh, he was the first person to come establish America or find America and all this other stuff. That right there was inaccurate after rip. And we find out what a crude individual this guy was. Even some of the founding fathers, were some rude, crude slave owners, things of that nature. And I feel if you're going to tell a story, just tell the truth. I'm not saying cancel it, don't act like it didn't happen,
Right.
but tell the whole truth.
Hmm.
Like they want to tear down a lot of these different statues. For what? Did it not happen? Just tell the whole truth.
Hmm.
So I just thought it was interesting to think about, man, some of the biggest stories that we know that the government knows more than we let on to. Obviously, the alien thing has fascinated people for forever. Um, and there's legitimacy to it for the simple fact that there is Area 51.
Sure.
And I tell you what, if you don't think there is, try riding over there and watch what
Hmm.
happens.
Right. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so hey, that right there lets me know I don't know what's up, but something's up.
Hmm.
Um, so that was my story on the world news front today. What do you got, brother?
So for a while now, as we know, and it's not unique to the last even administration that was in power, but it seems like our Republicans and Democrats in the House and Senate, it seems
That
like,
old story, huh?
yeah, it just seems like somebody introduces something on one side, the other side continues to be against it, almost because it's just the other
Just
party
the other, yeah,
introduced it.
exactly.
I mean, definitely stuff gets passed. There's definitely been stuff that's been passed that you can argue has helped the American people, even in the last administration. Okay, and I may or may not agree with all the everything it stood for, but there were some things that came out of it that did help people out.
Yeah.
Sure, all right. But just it seems like it's just a constant battle to get anything done of any significance. We know the current president's trying to pass a whole infrastructure thing. Actually, that's coming along a little bit, so
Hmm.
we could see something there to help improve our infrastructure. But just the other day, the Senate passes a $250 billion bipartisan tech and manufacturing bill aimed at countering China. Okay. This was one of the largest bills that's ever passed, one of the largest industrial bills in U.S. history. Passed the Senate chamber, 68 to 32. So pretty overwhelming. So it was certainly not along party lines at all. So definitely, a significant majority voted for this thing. So it will, at a high level, the scope of the bill, let's see, the final product of at least 6 Senate committees and almost all members of the chamber could be one of the last major bipartisan bills of 2021. It provides $52 billion to fund the semiconductor research, design, and manufacturing initiatives. And so the bottom line is, China, a long time, they're lapping us in many respects in technology, in manufacturing, and everything else. So we're talking a little bit off camera, Keith. They launched some initiatives some time ago,
Yes.
made in China, I heard, where their goal is, although we didn't invent some of this stuff, we want to be able to manufacture all the supporting components and everything to be 100% self-reliant as a nation, and a lot of these huge in manufacturing technology advancements. So finally, the government stepped up and said, whoa, we need to do something for the betterment of get past our current bickering and put something out there for the betterment of the future of this nation. So I thought that was pretty good. It was nice to see that,
Not a moment too soon, huh?
That's right. Too late almost. Hopefully not too late, but at least they got together. So it's nice to see that they can come together for something to help the future of this nation. So kind of a big deal. So that's a lot I just said.
It's a
Any thoughts? Go ahead.
huge deal. And it surprises me. It overwhelms me. It angers me that it took the U.S. so long.
Right.
Because bipartisan politics to me has just been another term, because it hasn't existed. And you nailed it on the head. Somebody could come up with a way to cure cancer, but if your party didn't do it, you're not going to support it.
Right.
Something like that. But it reminds me of the last couple of Middle Eastern skirmishes that we've been in and our dominance in them. And a lot of these other countries have had the firepower. But one thing we understood is, one thing to have a nice missile, but when you can have where we stood apart was guidance systems. Other country had the firepower like we did, but only we could put one on your back porch. That could knock on the, who is it? Smart bomb. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And we understood this. So why have we taken so long now to not see China was doing us the same way? Well, okay. You want to make that old joke made in China? That's where it's going to be made at too. And that's where we're going to get you at. And that's the way they've been doing it. About time. I'm happy, but it took too long, Fish.
Yep, I agree. I mean, so hopefully something good comes out of it, and certainly it creates a huge opportunity for a lot of jobs in these industries. So, certainly students and young people vying to get into engineering and technology.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's where it is.
Should open up a lot of opportunities.
If you're a first or second year college student right now, wondering which way to go, for your bachelor's, this might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, there you go. And it's just kind of made me reflect as well. All these, in our time growing up, it was always Russia. Russia was the bad guys. So they're still not friendly, obviously, today.
Right.
It's still very, as we know, very unusual relationship. But to see China now become the country that we fear the most, not militarily, certainly. Well, actually, kind of, because of some of these advancements they've made too, frankly. But certainly technology-wise is a sort of an interesting turn of events in our lifetime. So
and definitely, you're dealing with viruses and things like that now.
Sure.
But the hardest enemy to fight is the one you can't see.
That's right. That's right. So okay. All right. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So good topics. And then
now,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, since you're warmed up, let's go ahead and stay with you with some popular culture, and we'll see how that rolls out.
Okay, thank you, sir. Well, as usual, the last few weeks we've had an unfortunate passing of a popular culture figure from our generation. This past Sunday morning, actor Ned Beatty always thought it was
Ned.
Beatty. I thought it was Beatty. I heard it was pronounced Beatty today, so I'm going with Ned Beatty. He passed away.
I heard both.
Natural causes, age 83, surrounded by family. If you sort of know the name, if you've seen the movie Deliverance with Burt Reynolds, young Ned,
If
young,
you watch
young
movies,
Burt.
you see Ned Beatty in something.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. And then he was also the character Otis in the original Superman movie with Christopher
made that
Reeve.
character. Yeah.
And he was nominated for Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in 1976's Network. So, like you said, if you watch movies in the 70s and early 80s, you probably saw Ned Beatty in something. Ned Beatty. So rest in peace, Ned. Any particular? I mean, I know you know Ned. You say you were a fan of this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those names that weren't a household name, but everything you saw him in, he was great. He was awesome. Now, there was 3 roles that he stuck out for me. And you mentioned the Otis role, Superman. I forgot about that. He was great in that. He was good at playing the adulting type character.
Yeah.
But he was good at playing that serious role too. And 3 roles that stuck out to me. As far as playing that fool, it was a short role, but he was in Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh yeah.
And I just thought the few minutes those two had on screen together was hilarious, But the 2 serious roles that meant a lot to me, one was Rudy. Rudy, one of my favorite sports movies. He was the father of Rudy.
Oh gosh, that's right.
Yeah. And I tell you what, man, if you have not seen this movie, and it's a shame how many people have not seen it, it is one of my favorite Tom Hanks movies, Charlie Wilson's War. And Charlie Wilson was a real congressman who, when the Afghans were being attacked by the Russians, and the USA couldn't directly get involved, but they were sworn to protect us when all the Afghan war happened. Charlie Wilson was the man who looked into finding what the budget was for them, and it was like something like $5 million, which was laughable. And so he got them to increase it first to 20 million and something like 50 million. And he told them that the only way that they're going to be able to kill the Russians is to shoot down the helicopters. And that was his theme through the whole movie. You got to shoot down the helicopter, shoot down the helicopters. And of course, Ned Beatty played a character. He was on one of the subcommittees, one of the guys that approved all the big money. Here's 20 billion for that. And he was Charlie Wilson, played by Tom Hanks, took him overseas to see the camps, to see the refugee camps, the kids dying in their mother's arms. And he was so struck by them, he just said, "Give me an open checkbook," pretty much. But it is one of the best movies and best true stories. If you've never seen Charlie Wilson's War, watch that movie.
I don't know that I have. I'll have to
what's her name? From Pretty Woman? What's her name from Pretty Woman? Julia Roberts.
Yeah, Julia Roberts.
She did an unbelievable role in that movie as well. And it's all true story, man. Fascinating story. One of the last great performances of he just passed away. He was in who's the young actor that just passed away? I'll think of his name in a minute. But one of his last performances as well. Huffman. You know what I'm talking about?
Hoffman.
Yeah, sounds so familiar. Hold on, I got his name right here.
Okay.
He was from Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh yeah,
one of his last great performances, man. He was awesome. Matter of fact, he was phenomenal. He was an old CIA agent that didn't care about the boss, didn't care about the rules, and I'm telling you, you will love this movie.
Okay, so you give it a thumbs up?
I give it a thumbs up.
That was an easy one.
That was so easy. We didn't even work on that one, Skinner. That just came out naturally.
Yep, there you go. Very easy. It's very easy to make fun of each other. It's
yes, it is.
Easiest part of the show. Okay, so rest in peace, Ned. We talked about NFTs on a prior episode. So non-fungible tokens, which is basically you are buying the rights to own an electronic image. So it's essentially like buying a painting signed by the painter. However, that painting is displayed essentially in a public place where anybody can look at it as much as they wish. You're not making any money from that. However, you can say you own that painting, if you will.
I love millennials.
Yeah. So a meme, it's literally I'll put it on the page within our video at the very least, and our show promos and all that. But it's literally a picture of this man's dog or whomever's dog. Okay, that's it. And it wound up being kind of a famous meme. And the person sold it for a record for an NFT, $4 million. Somebody just paid.
How do I get in on this action, man?
More and more people are doing that. So we could literally, I don't know the steps, but we could make it came from GenX. We could take an image or something and make it a NFT somehow. And if somebody was willing to pay to say that they owned it, then there you have it. So just the unusual trend of NFTs in 2021, it's a huge thing. So it's still hard for me to understand
maybe we can get Skinner to work on something while he's on break. Rather than just sit around with his thumb up his butt, so he can work on that.
Yes. Good. We'll do some research. You hear that, Skinner? That's good. Yeah, so just an unusual trend continues. I don't really get it. I don't know unless I just have a lot of money and I want to be able to say, you see that dog meme out there? I own the picture of that. And
that's mine.
You just wonder if people are kind of like, okay.
Gosh, okay. I don't know, man. I would never understand it. I don't want to sound like old funny duddy, but I just don't get it.
I don't either. If anybody has any comments out there, why you think NFTs are, worth an investment? People must think somehow.
Yes,
they must think somehow. It's either
we're not dogging it. We're just saying we don't understand. That's all we're saying.
Right. That's right. Either they think it's going to increase in value, or it's strictly bragging rights, or some combination of those things. So I don't know. So I guess we'll find out as we go. So a pretty well-known show for us growing up a little bit in the 90s, Sex and the City, huge show. It is like a handful of shows from the 80s and 90s are rebooting with original cast members. So Sarah Jessica Parker, Cynthia Nixon, and Kristen Davis recently posted a picture on social media. All these ladies are in their mid-50s, still very lovely. Don't get me wrong. But they, and again, why not? If someone's offering you a paycheck to come back, if you don't have a whole lot going on, you want to make some money, get back in these roles, which I'm sure they very much enjoyed. So rebooting Sex and the City. I don't know a whole lot about it. I didn't really see where it's going to be shown yet. But were you a Sex and the City fan? Are you interested in this reboot, or not a fan? Don't really care. What are your thoughts, Keith?
Not a fan. Don't really care. So rather than comment about the show specifically, I want to talk about this trend. I wasn't shocked at all to hear that. Okay. Yeah. But there's a time and place for everything. And I think what it is it's about we as Generation X, where we are in time. So you have these great things that you love in the 80s. It takes about 30 years for first 10 years it's run its course. It peaks, then it's run its course, then it's over. Okay, then it goes into syndication for a while, then it just dies away because all the new stuff have come along and you forget about it. So now you get about 20, 30 years past it, and man, I missed that. And it's time to capitalize on it, which is why you got your Friends remake, you got your Fresh Prince of Bel-Air re-get together, and I think we're going to continue to see more of this. Like you said, hey, if you're going to be able to make some money off it, why not? And pretty soon, somebody's going to remake something we want to see. Like I said, the Fresh Prince remake was awesome, and they got to the Uncle Phil section, and boy, you had to get some Kleenex. I'm telling you. Yeah. So, hey, whatever floats your boat. Well, we're nostalgic by nature.
Yeah, you're correct. You're right, and you're right. With our age group, we're right in the heat of that right now. We're seeing 80s fashion coming back. We're seeing these 80s and 90s shows coming back. I know Mad About You's already been out, right, with Paul Reiser.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
I can't think of the actress's name. That's
Paul
out
Reiser's
there.
wife. No.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, we're gonna, like you say, we're gonna see more and more of these. If somebody's willing to sit down and watch it in our age group or otherwise, then you're right. It's something that's going to continue. I don't know. I mean, I tend to. Does it tarnish to you, Keith? Does it tarnish when they reboot some of these? Does it tarnish the original shows, or no? That
Well,
had its time and
see,
place, and
that's a
this is
great
something
question.
different. Yeah.
That's a great question, Fish. And this is where it gets tricky. Sometimes something was made too early,
Mm-hmm.
and you think, man, if the technology, like, let me give you an example. Let's look at our favorite superhero movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
There were some great attempts before, but the technology didn't match the dream.
Yeah.
So they had to leave that alone, come back 30, 40 years later. Now we have the technology to really express what we're saying here. You know, you really couldn't see Spider-Man swinging from building to building when they first tried it back in the late 70s. That was horrible. But now it's like, man, with the 360 motion cameras and all that, you're living it. So some of these stories that weren't FCC laws and things of that nature, you couldn't say certain things or portray certain things. They were ahead of their time. So I think sometimes remaking something now with a little bit more freedom makes it better, makes it a little more, I can relate to this.
Yeah.
Then sometimes you kind of like, you milk it to death, and it's like, you know what, you mess up. So it can work either way.
Yeah, I'm interested in the sense of, I mean, I'm sure they'll do this, but if these ladies are just what they are, we are more mature women. And if they're portrayed that way in, maybe they're back on the dating scene, trying to date in their mid-50s and dealing with a whole other array of, online, who knows what they're going to do with it. But to me, if they set them in the proper time, they're not just 50-year-old ladies trying to live like they were in their 20s and 30s.
Right.
Then it could certainly be interesting and different dynamic. And we're seeing a lot of this too, Keith, in animation too. I agree with you 100% on the superhero stuff, but we've talked about last week on Seth Rogen is coming back to redo another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie and get his perspective on it.
Right.
If you've not seen the previews yet, go check it out after the show for the new Masters of the Universe. That's going to be on, I think it's Netflix. Looks terrific.
Been waiting for
terrific. The guy who plays Jay, not Silent Bob. Silent Bob is, talking about that guy. Yeah,
I know you're talking about.
Anyways, he's involved in it, but it's just the guys that are our age or around our age that grew up with this stuff, that are fans, able to take the reins and, like you say, to tell the story as a true fan. We're seeing much success with all of that in the Star Wars universe and these superhero stuff. So that type of stuff, I say, definitely keep it coming. All right. Are you a Hamilton musical fan, Keith? Have you seen Hamilton on Disney, or you seen the movie at all? Or I know you're familiar with it.
I have seen bits and pieces of it.
Okay.
It has not garnered my attention enough to say I've sat and watched it from beginning to end.
Yeah.
I have saw bits and pieces of it at different times. I've enjoyed everything that I saw, but I have not watched the entire thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not against it. I'm not as big of a musical fan personally. It's just not my thing really, but certainly a huge, huge success. And this gentleman, Lin-Manuel Miranda, created this thing, and he just released a new musical movie, In the Heights. It is debuting on HBO Max, actually just recently in theaters and HBO Max on June 10th. So this just started. So it is about a, let's see here. It's basically people living in a local neighborhood,
community,
and struggles in a community. Exactly. So I think the content seems like it makes a lot of sense. I think it's a great change of pace for him. It's got a lot of positive buzz. So I don't know. I just think for him, great for him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he definitely, Hamilton is a huge, huge success. And to me, if it shows bring some light to some of the struggles and living in a community and helping each other and all
more
that.
of
I
a
say
Latino
terrific.
community, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let me address this one, the movie in specific, and then just musicals. I try not to ever say anything negative about anything or anybody who's trying to do something that has a positive feeling. And what I've only seen the commercials of this movie, but man, when I watch it, it just gives me that old feeling of community. Our neighborhood coming together. And one of the things that are leaving so fast right now is neighborhoods. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, man, you can't even have a block party anymore, or a block yard sale anymore. We're losing stuff like that so bad, and it was so great. When you knew your neighbors 4 or 5 houses down.
Yeah.
And everybody now was so secretive. We got our cameras up and all this other stuff. So I appreciate that. When I see movies like that, I'm like, yeah, show us more. Show us more of these old neighborhoods coming together. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Even all the way back to Spike Lee's, the Spike Lee movie. I can't think of right now. About Raheem's Pizza, and there was a major crime committed there. But anyway, all the way back to that, all the way back to even West Side Story, and things of that nature. So I really dig that. I'll probably see this movie on cable somewhere and probably appreciate it and dig it. As far as movies like that are concerned, yeah, man. I mean, it's cool. He's got to have a subject matter to really catch my attention. But I dig them. I think they're great, man. Just being a musician myself, it's just another art form. Trust me, man, singing and dancing and acting at the same time, that is something hard to do. And you, even on TV and movies, you get away with murder. Try seeing it live, and you got doing it live. You can't cut and paste, parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to be out there spinning around, catching your breath, singing lines, then go back into acting mode, the character you're in. New respect for us, just like was in a couple of musicals.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I'm interested. I'll check it out at some point. And I'm with you 100% on the whole community theme, whether it be a movie or a musical or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, as we know in our old neighborhood where we graduated, Keith Kenmore, I mean, it's really over the years, it's taken a rough turn.
It's taking a rough turn. It stinks, man.
But the local community is really working hard to try to renovate, and you're seeing more and more positive things pop up with family-oriented evenings and murals and all kinds of different things. And it just shows you the power of if people come together, like you said, and try to make their community better, you can overcome a lot of negativity.
He had like some Lion King movie in his backyard, didn't invite me, but that's cool. That's fine.
I think you were invited, if I'm not mistaken, and you weren't able to make it.
I was invited. Actually, what I was telling you today, that was the beginning of it, man.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So
we'll do more. Backyard movies for sure. Okay, that's just a super fast, just to maybe feel a little older. Michael J. Fox recently turned 60 years of age.
Wow.
Michael J. Fox is just, I always picture him, and I watched it even recently. We talked about Back to the Future. That to me, forever is Michael J. Fox. I don't care how old he ever gets. He's going to be that teenage kid in
Marty McFly.
Playing, exactly right. So still looks great, still with his beautiful wife of many, many years. It just, that kind of hit me the other day. So Michael J. Fox, loved a lot of his stuff. So may you live a lot longer, Mr. Fox. So that's it. That's what I got.
He is one of those people who is the epitome of our generation growing up.
Oh yeah.
He was the right guy for the right movies with the Back to the Future movies. And those movies gave us insight on things that are actually real today.
Yeah.
So it was very futuristic, very insightful. Also, his character is Alex P. Keaton.
Yes.
I thought it opened up a whole new world of Republicans to Generation X people. I really did. Him, man, I give credit to him and Carlton on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So, love the guy. Then we want to talk about the strength of character that this guy has, dealing with the illness that he has dealt with. But is it Parkinson's, I believe?
Yes.
Yeah, and the strength of character for him to bounce back, He started with a couple of announcements on award shows, and then just back in some TV shows. Man, they tried to bring back the one show, and it didn't work out. But I love the guy, like you said, man. More of you. God bless you. Have more birthdays, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Okay, Heath, what do you have in the world of music and sports, sir?
Okay, music and sports. So let's start off with some sports today, man.
Mm-hmm.
A little story kind of close to me here. Le'Veon Bell is a free agent today. Now, what Le'Veon said the other day in regards to his free agency didn't sit well with a lot of people. He said, "I'd rather retire than play for Andy Reid." There's just some people you don't badmouth. You just don't do it. You get jumped on, you get stumped on because people ain't having it. Andy Reid is one of those guys in the NFL. Loved by players, loved by coaches. And I would imagine some of the people close to Le'Veon Bell said, "Hey, bro, you need to fix this up." So in his, I don't want to say retraction, but in his, I can't read the word they said, fixing it up, he said, "I meant what I said. I'm not standing back from it, and especially after what he said to me." So I guess that was his way of justifying it by putting out there, "Well, Andy said something to me first, but you didn't say what it was." I really don't care what Andy said to you. The point of it is this. You almost was out of the NFL completely. You screwed up with the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
You screwed up with them. And because of your ego, you set out a whole year and lost $14 million to prove what point? I don't know. Then you go sign with the Jets, and you got less money than you would have got with the Steelers. And then you were almost out of football. And who gave you a career like he's done for so many others? Andy Reid.
Yep.
Same thing happened to LaShawn McCoy. But you know what? Shady kept his mouth shut and ended up getting a Super Bowl ring with Kansas City because of Andy Reid. And that's all you had to do. So I don't know what's wrong with this guy. And I'm thinking to myself, social media has messed up so many of these young athletes. They have don't hit sin. Don't hit sin. There should be a national committee campaign going on. Don't hit sin. Don't hit sin. Because it's too easy to be liquored up, 3:00 in the morning and read what some sports writer said about you. And you go off on the deep end and you hit sin. Then you got to wake up the next way and you got to walk it back down. So I wanted to talk about some of the worst social media things that have ruined athletes' lives, and even go back in the day before there was social media, was some of the just the interviews that have messed up some of the professional athletes. So I have a list here of ways that the how social media posts have ruined athletes' lives. And find my list here. Here we go. Okay. Oops. There we are. Now, I'm going to read some of these by you and tell me what you think.
Okay.
I want to talk about different ways that social media has ruined athletics. Number 10, the viral thing. It seems like it's a millennial type of badge of honor that you're willing to sacrifice anything just to go viral. I think the whole viral game was being put out there to push people to go past the envelope. And I think it's caused a lot of regretful things being put out there on social media. Fish?
Yeah, I agree. It's just like you say, I want to get some type of publicity, and I don't really care necessarily if it's positive or negative. Yeah, like you say, it's just you might say some things that maybe you don't even really believe in,
Yeah.
just to get those likes and that exposure out there. So yeah, I don't quite get that either. I'm with you. So yeah, definitely
Okay. Well, that's a
a
great.
trend. Not a good. You go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's a great segue into number 9 because
Hmm.
you said like get some things up there that are not necessarily true. You don't believe. Number 9 is I got athletes to athlete beefs that are non-existent in reality.
Right.
It starts all. Social media wants to see this and that. You want to see. You want to believe that this. LeBron James really hates Steph Curry and they're going at it totally. You want to believe that for a fan perspective, but too many times the non-existent beefs have been created on social media.
Yeah, I don't know if that's quite as harmful, but you're right. It's still something. It's just a ridiculous game to get exposure.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
Uh, Athletes and fans. Uh, there has been some athletes that have
Oh
went
yeah.
after some fans for some of the
Hmm.
stuff they posted. And that could cause a real problem. When you start, anytime you intermix athletes and fans, it's never going to be good.
Yeah, I'm with you. You just don't know what people are capable of.
Yeah,
It's some guy you're messing with as a fan. I mean, again, you don't know. That could be risky. You don't know what people. eh, I don't
it's
know.
all bad. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And you're supposed to be above all that, anyways, right?
exactly.
So I'm not saying if you're walking out like you've seen some unfortunate recent events where a fan has literally poured, beer or popcorn on,
Uh-huh.
some NBA players exiting. That's if you're doing stuff like that and you get your face punched, you should get your
You
face
should get
punched
your face punched.
at
Thank you.
that point, right?
Yep.
But as
Yep.
far as social media and all that, I mean, you're a pro athlete. Just steer clear of that stuff. Just rise above it. People will go away eventually. You would think.
You
So
would
I don't
think.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, number 7, when it ruins the element of surprise. We got people stalking out places 24/7 nowadays.
yeah,
God, nothing is better than seeing ESPN breaking news. We that's exciting when we see it on ESPN, man. But now,
yep,
you see it's been reported that Michael Jordan's been in the building. We all kind of had a feeling he was coming back to Chicago days before it happened. You know,
yep,
Things like that. And so you got a sense of seeing athletes in the building with a suit on. Oh, they're about to announce a retirement, and we know about injuries, which has affected the whole gambling system
right.
because of social media. So sometimes it can ruin elements to surprise, and it's not a good thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just like just I'm sure it ties into we're so inundated with content out there, and all these media companies have to do all they can just to try to get an edge up on their competitors, and it's just, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Let's get a legitimate story when it was legitimate, then broadcast it, and
Right.
that's it. Yeah,
And
it's
now we got to
too
deal with all
much.
these fake stories and fake deaths on Facebook. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's ridiculous. Okay. All right. Number 6, overexposure. I got it with the NFL. The NFL is watching all these NBA guys. First of all, they already have better contracts than the NFL, and they're taking way more risk. But also, the exposure in the NBA is so much greater because they don't have to wear a helmet.
Right.
So I get it using social media to kind of make a household name out of yourself. I understand that because you got to do something after football, and I get it. But the overexposure now is like we got tired of hearing about Le'Veon Bell when that whole thing was going on. We got
Yeah.
tired of hearing about uh 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 trying to think of some of the other names, but you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Overexposure right now can be as detrimental as it is helpful.
Yeah. It was just different in our time. That's all. I mean, you had to wait around for an interview with Michael Jordan or see him on television and he had some
You're
time to prepare for that
yeah.
stuff. It seems like, you know what I'm saying? So it was just a little bit more controlled and everything. And it just, the anticipation was a little bit,
Well, you're right.
yeah,
And the
I
reason
don't
why I'm
know.
lying is because it's like you're looking at my list. You keep doing me these great segues to it. You just mentioned
Yeah.
Michael Jordan. So I want to
Yeah.
talk about something that just do they get old or are they still funny? The crying Jordan. That was actually
Oh, yeah. It's funny.
you get tired of stuff like that all the time. The Jordan meme, or is it still funny to you?
I think those are funny to me because of the creativity, how people will put them. And Jordan himself, he made fun of himself in some recent appearance. I think it might have been a, I don't know what it was, but it was something where he wanted to make a joke and brought up his own meme.
Yeah,
which was pretty funny. Yeah, so I like that stuff. Give me the creativity. That I'll take all day.
I'll take
creative humor. Yes, I'll take that.
Fair enough. Now, number 4 is when athletes are disciplined because of it. And law, I guess you would say, being tried in a court of public opinion. I see athletes disciplined because of the effect of social media. One of the things that I can think of as recent, and I don't know how this was even allowed. Former Ohio State quarterback turned wide receiver. You know what I'm talking about.
Wait, is camera in the locker or in the meeting room or something?
No, nothing like that. Okay. But he sold some of his own memorabilia, or he traded it for a tattoo.
Okay, I remember hearing something about it. Yeah.
Yeah, he traded, and he was still in college when this happened. The story came out on social media throughout the summer, and before this kid was ever drafted, a member of the NFL, our great commissioner, suspended him for so many games. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think if this story would have been, if it wasn't for social media, this would have never happened. And I don't know how you got the power to suspend somebody that's not even a part of your league.
Yeah. I'm with you. Some of these social media trials are ridiculous. I agree with you. I mean, as a young kid at the time, it happened. You didn't catch him at the time. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Number 3, and this is one of the most fun things to do in the month of March or late month of February, and that's when your NCAA brackets get leaked early. I don't know why anybody would want to do that. That is a fun time for offices all over the country. People who don't even watch basketball, they do. I worked at a law firm. They had a whole wall of that bracket, every year done up, and money being involved. Don't mess with the NCAA brackets, man.
Right.
Make it even for everybody.
Yep. I agree.
Okay. I agree. Number 2, just unwarranted criticism and drama that it creates. It's a lot of people get brave when it comes to hitting send. If you can't say, you ain't got the guts to say it to somebody's face, don't say it at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. It definitely created a lot of, I don't know what the terms are used at the moment, but internet brave.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can't think of that term, but right.
Yeah, I think we used to call it telephone tough or something. Yeah, we used to call it that back in our time, where people could, you'd call and have threats over the phone, but then wouldn't meet face to face.
I didn't say that. Yeah. Okay. All right. And the last one, and this isn't just sports, but it just pans across movies, TV shows, season finales, anything, where you make your DVR irrelevant.
Yeah.
How do you go see a movie, anticipate a movie, and then that same night you get home and going, man, I didn't know Janie was the murderer. Wow. Are you serious?
Yeah, some of that stuff's unfortunate. When people they have fun spoiling movies and spoiling events and stuff like that, just they get a thrill out of that. That's just not nice. You're taking a lot of enjoyment out of people to.
So stupid. Get a life, man. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I'm sorry. What I was looking at here on the iPad, I couldn't think of his name, but Dwayne Haskins. So it does create as well some ridiculous behavior from athletes and otherwise, just to try to get the likes. Yeah. Remember when he scored that touchdown? We were making fun of him because he ran. He took the selfie with the fan, and he missed.
Good point. Yeah.
And he missed the extra point or something like that. And they got a penalty.
Like
yep. Just because he's trying to generate
social media in their head.
Interest, right? And then he winds up costing his team a penalty. I don't know. And it does create some problems, some addictions out there, even on
Yeah.
our little show, our
Everybody
little
wants to be on
podcast.
that perfect meme with that perfect picture. It becomes
right.
iconic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
That's
great
right.
point. Yep.
I could tell
So
you from personal experience, just our little show here, just trying to get stuff out there. Sometimes I have to stop myself because we'll post stuff and I keep wanting to go and look and see how many likes on TikTok, how many of this, what's going on with this, and you have to just get yourself away from that. So I could definitely see where people can get in that mindset in I must create something to
something to
get that
generate. Yeah.
exposure out there because it's my whole brand and all this and that and the other. So, and it takes away from being in the moment with people. And it's
Hmm.
a whole other big thing we can get into. But yeah, I agree with you. Big problem. It's certainly hurt more than it's helped over the years. I'm
Yeah.
quite
Remember
sure.
Joe Horn? With the cell phone in the sock. It was like, are you serious? Were you really worried about getting that planet underneath the goalpost
Yeah.
instead of focusing on the game? Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But millennials argue with you. Oh, that's cool. I know my son and I have had several arguments going back and forth. I hate some of these touchdown celebrations when they look stupid. I really can't stand every time you get a first down. You got this thing going on. Like, dude, we get it. Okay, get
Right.
back in the huddle, man. You ain't done nothing yet.
Yep.
But anyway, so okay, all right. Well, that's my story with that old deal. Now I want to move
Yep.
something a little bit more serious. Unfortunately, um, against the team up north, we don't like very much. Uh, Recently, students have come out, former Michigan players, with accusations of sexual misconduct against former team doctor Robert Andrews. And one reason that this story is really taking a lot of traction is because one of those players, or former players, is famed Michigan coach Bo Schembechler's son, Matt Schembechler. And
Hmm.
that caught a lot of people's attention. And sadly to say, he said Bo knew about it. And there's allegations that Bo would threaten former players that he would send them to the doctor. They didn't act right or something.
Hmm.
You think about this, and of course, the first thing that comes back to your mind is, once famed coach Joe Paterno and his situation with Jerry Sandusky. And what hurt people the most was the allegations that Joe knew, to the point that his statue was torn down. He died disgraced, and it was really sad. So now you got current Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh, who was quoted the other day defending Bo Schembechler about how he, didn't know nothing and ran a tight program, and which has got all these people really kicked off going, you weren't even there at 69. So what do you know about it,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that's going to do to his career. He's certainly got to do some clarification coming up soon. That's for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Sure.
Or he's going to hear from a lot of different programs and institutions about people who's had to deal with this horrible ordeal. He's going to get a lot of unfaithful letters. But I'm sitting here thinking about this like, man, is this how does this affect us, Fish, especially us as Generation X, maybe even a little older? We see these once heroes get torn down. You thought these great thoughts about them, and I've always had to separate what I thought about a person on the field versus them as character. And I can appreciate you what you did. Like I can appreciate Tiger Woods for what he did. Okay, all that other stuff that's between him, his wife, and God. But when it
Yep.
comes to something like this, if you were a hero of mine, I don't want to have nothing to do with you anymore. You think this affects us psychologically when we see all our once heroes get torn down in this kind of a manner?
I mean, it definitely uh, humanizes people a lot more, most certainly, where people had
Okay,
some
good point.
serious problems. And, I'm sure at the time they were making some decisions they thought were in the best interest in some respects of the school and the program. I don't know. But honestly, if all this stuff happened, they'd bring it out, expose it, let people talk about it,
Okay,
let
I,
victims. get their say.
I wish I could have
hopefully heal.
requested.
Go ahead.
I wish I could have started this over and changed how I asked that, because you brought up a good point. I wish I could have asked, is there anything good could come from it? Because I loved your answer. If anything good could come from something like this, is the humanization of these people who were looked up as gods almost to some people. And I think that's always been a terrible, terrible thing. I see that not just in sports. I see that in the world of ministry. Being an assistant pastor myself, these people look at these pastors like they're actually God, and they need to be understood that no, they're human beings, just like you, fighting the same battles, just like you. So I think that's a really good point about the humanization part of it. Go ahead, you finish what you were saying.
That's okay. And like I said, probably even more important than that is if these poor people who were victims of these atrocities, if some of the stuff getting out there allows them, as it did with the Joe Paterno investigation, to speak up and say, yes, this happened. I've had to deal with this shame or whatever it is for many years, and able to maybe heal from some of this. That's where some of this stuff is important too. And you should understand this stuff happens. I mean, I think you should get this out there because it's a real thing that people have to contend with at some of these universities and otherwise. So, just because someone's a famous person does not mean they're a good, wholesome person,
right?
Or that's a good, wholesome program or school or whatever it is. So, yeah, I say if stuff went on, get it out there and allow people to work through it.
Yep. Okay. All right. So, moving over to music real quick. Up against the clock.
About 5 minutes, sir. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Good. So today, one thing that happened in music today in 2002, Mick Jagger was knighted in the Great Britain tradition of knighting certain Englanders, if I could use that word. What I didn't know about this was that the Queen did not actually hand him the sword because she did not think he was worthy of receiving this knighthood, which also is telling of another thing, that she isn't the last final word on this. This story surprises you in any way, Fish?
It's interesting. I'd like to know the process. We talked about a little off camera. Yeah, I don't know the whole process there, but yeah, it is interesting. And honestly, if I'm Mick Jagger, I think that's probably pretty cool. If I got knighted, but the Queen thought I was some low life or whatever it was, but I still got it. I think that's pretty neat. So
I have so much admiration for Mick Jagger for the simple fact he can't dance. I'm sorry if you think that man can dance, you're stupid, and he cannot sing, and he still made a fortune. You gotta love it, and he's ugly as all get out, and he says, "Here I am, baby, love it and leave it."
One of the most confident beings probably ever existed.
Yep. That's a good word to put, confident. Okay,
good for him.
All right. Also, 1997 on this day, Puff Daddy, he was Puff Daddy then, and Faith Evans went to #1 with the song "I'll Be Missing You," which was a tribute to slain rapper Notorious B.I.G. That was a big song, and I started thinking about it. Man, what are some of the best tribute songs? Don't have to be necessarily other fallen musicians, but just a tribute to people who died or were slain or something like that. What are some of your favorite tribute songs that we grew up on, Fish?
Actually, a couple by Elton John came to mind. It was I heard it this past weekend, "Empty Garden," when he sang a tribute to his recently killed friend John Lennon, and he also did the wonderful tribute Elton John to Princess Di when she passed away.
That's one of my favorites
Candle in the Wind or something like that. Yeah, very, very moving stuff. So that's two to come to mind right away from also knighted Sir Elton John.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, that "Candle in the Wind" is certainly one of my favorites. Can't get enough of that song. "Lean on Me" by Bill Withers, another great tribute song. Just that song, period, on its own, is a great song. And I also love the song, "A Song for Mama" by the Boys to Men that they did for their mothers. That was a great song. And remember the old Quiet Riot song, "Thunderbird," tribute to Randy Rhoads, famed Ozzy guitar player.
What was that song Marvin that someone did about Marvin Gaye? Very, very great song.
Oh God, that was awesome. Yeah.
We'll look it up.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
look
look
it
that
up.
one up for sure. But those are great tribute songs. Also, celebrity birthdays today. Junior Walker from Junior Walker and the All Stars, Boy George of Culture Club Flame, and Chris DeGarmo, guitar player from the famed progressive rock metal band Queensryche. Any of those names stick out at you? Surprised that any of those guys are still alive?
Oh boy, maybe all of them. I don't
And
know.
maybe, well, you know what? All those things I just said, obviously, we got to talk about Boy George. You know, this guy, man, with the life he's led, the drugs and the, you know, all these crazy things. Shocked that he's still around, and he's been reemerging too in a lot of different ways, fashion and music. So, hey, whatever.
By the way, that song was called "Night Shift" by the Commodores.
There you go. Excellent. Yes.
It was
I
Marvin
could sing it
Gaye
in my
and
head, but I could. Yeah, great song.
Jackie Wilson and Marvin Gaye passed away around the same time, so they wrote that as a tribute to both.
Yeah,
So
and it was great too because it was the first. It was another hit for the Commodores without the great Lionel Richie. So helped cement their legacy too, and showed the world that they were still a great band without the great Lionel Richie, who I love and respect as well.
Absolutely.
All right, well, brother, that's it, man. You want to send us out? It was a great show.
Perfect. So almost right on time. We couldn't have counted any better. I don't know. I was trying to get a finger.
I know you were working it on there.
I couldn't quite get it there. Sorry. So, Skinner, we love you. Hope you're okay. We'll be thinking about you.
Yeah, Skinner Jr., we love you, my brother. Thank you for all your help and all your work. And Christopher Dominic, love you, brother.
Absolutely.